Spoilers. Spoilers. Oh, we got spoilers. We got spoilers for your spoilers on top of spoilers around spoilers. So if you do not want spoilers, get going. Thank you to our final patrons, Riddle 4765, Midnight Gem Lord, Sean, Alex, Ice Rose, and Demix LND. And another thank you to our $3 members, Recliner Plays, and Riddle 4765. And another very big thank you to our $10 patrons, Robbie Uchiha, Idel Okami, and Joaquin. And another very big thank you to our $25 member, Alex, Ice Rose. Now, from this breakdown / discussion and analysis of the JJK chapter 229 spoilers, please do me a favor and leave your own thoughts on the spoilers in the comment section down below. Leave a like and subscribe if you have not already. Also, make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get these same perks and more. Now, let's hop into the spoiler discussion. What's up, guys? I Love Pencil here, and y'all. I know this guy. Now, here's the thing. I know I'm about to sound like genuinely, legitimately insane, and I need y'all to hear me out on this. I need y'all to hear me out, y'all. I know I'm about to sound absolutely buku bonkers, like legitimately, absolutely, indubitably insane. I still got faith, and like there are a couple things. Wow, we got. Lot to talk about. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a lot to talk about. Oh, sweet mother of mercy, bro. Whew. Okay. Woof. Let's not waste any more time, because I'm going to be talking for a fat minute. Let's hop right into it. What's up, guys? Back on the pencil here. And, where is it? Y'all know. I got it on me, and I keep it on me at all times. But, yo. Okay. All right. So, let's just take it in order. Like, there is a bunch to talk about, just off the raws alone, and the little baby translations I do have. But, just off the raws alone. First things first, I guess the nosebleed was just a fake out. Like, in a similar vein to the slash on Gojo's neck at the end of that one chapter, and pretty much almost every single ending to the previous chapters, it doesn't necessarily mean much, at least from what I can tell from the raws. Gojo just wipes it off. So even if he is overheating, and this is supposed to like foreshadow that, it appears that if anything, that's only motivated him more, because he has this big old grin on his face as he's overheated, or like as he wipes the bleed away, which is fine by me. Like, notably, I don't blame Gege for hype baiting. That's essentially what this is. Like ending off last chapter the way he did, just the same way as ending off the previous chapter the way he did, and then ending off the previous chapter the way he did. Like, it is literally just to get people discussing, get people worried, get people quivering in their boots. Like, trust me, I know that. Like, it's a tactic of all serialized things, not just. I mean, like, some series don't do it too often. Like, a series I really like is Leverage, and the thing with Leverage is that usually, with rare exception, there are some arcs in Leverage where like they don't do this, but usually episodes are mostly self-contained. Like, they will begin and the plot will be set up in that episode, it'll be taken care of in that episode, and then it'll end. And if the season has like an overarching plot, you may get slight reference to that. And that's the most you'll get in something like Leverage. But for something like a weekly manga, you pretty much always have to end on a cliffhanger. That's how you get your readers to come back next week. So even if it did end up being like pretty much a fake out, in my opinion, like, I'm not sure, maybe it'll be different when the official translations come out, but at least from my perspective, this literally meant nothing. Unless it comes back to haunt Gojo later, which, who knows, it could. He may literally just be over abusing his own body. I still think Gojo's pretty much fine. And with that being the case, we see that Gojo and Sukuna, once again, they know that pretty much there's nothing, like, The thing is, right, I get why Gojo keeps resorting to domain, right? Because there's nothing else that he really, like, unless he can insta-fire purple, which pretty impossible to tell, I'm not sure. He has nothing, well, actually, no, to be fair, red and blue does work, but considering Sukuna has full reign and access to using domain, you gotta counter domain with domain. You gotta counter the peak with the peak. It's gonna be hard, even with Gojo. Let's say Gojo tries to symbol domain into face tanking into hollow purple at a close range, or red at a close range, or blue at a close range. It's still not going to be as effective since Sukuna will have the domain buff. So Gojo kind of needs to counter domain. And considering what happened at the end of last, not even at the end, in the middle of last chapter, opening domain, the super bulky one with unlimited void, does seem to be a good way for Gojo to get consistent damage off. Because remember, outside of the nosebleed, Gojo took no damage last chapter. Like, no damage at all, to the point where it's only Sukuna who still has that gaping hole in his chest. So I do think that ultimately now, with the way, with the, it sounds weird, with the counterbalance that Gojo has built up with his domain, with constantly altering its properties until he's found that nice little compact Prison Realm-esque domain, I think it makes sense that Gojo's just going to consistently go for that, because it's the safest way. It's the safest way to deal with Sukuna. And with that being the case, we see that they both use domain expansion right away. And Angel figures that, okay, yeah, so Sukuna has figured out how to regenerate his burnt out curse technique through RCT. And with that being the case, we see that it's the same condition all over again. Somehow, some way, Gojo is going to need to figure out how to deal enough damage to Sukuna so that his domain lasts while Sukuna's doesn't. And that is true. Essentially, they're back to square one, which they were at the beginning. Well, not at the beginning, at the end of last chapter. Gojo needs to get to that point again and not let Sukuna scurry away this time. Because, you know, Sukuna, he'd been scurrying, the king of curses, but he'd be running. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him, notably. I wouldn't want to fight Gojo either. Me personally, I would not want to fight Gojo either. So shout out to Sukuna. Don't knock his hustle. However, as I take a sip of water, because it's early in the morning, stay hydrated, folks. We do get to see that. Ooh, sorry. Sorry, this is what happens when you record early in the morning. But Shoko apparently says, ayo, don't deem the situation as too bad for Gojo. Because realistically, as far as they know, and as far as I knew, literally less. Like, I recorded that video last night, and Gege, like, dropped the leaks not 2 hours after I recorded and dropped my own video, just to prove me wrong. But I'm going to talk about that more, like, the actual review, once I get actual translations and see what actually happens at the end of this chapter. Because there's stuff up in the air at the end of this chapter. But essentially, Shoko believes what I believe. All it takes is one. Notably, Sukuna has been hitting, like, who knows how many sure hits have actually hit Gojo. Like, if we were to put a number to it. Like, it's probably in the hundreds, considering how much Gojo was healing and how much time it took for him to restore his burnt out curse technique and all that. Like, all of that seems legit in terms of, like, it has to be a high number. But all it takes is one. If Sukuna gets hit by Unlimited Void, you can tell by how Sukuna deals with Unlimited Void in the first place that he knows he can't tank it. Or at least he knows previously he couldn't take it because of how it works. A lot of people were discussing, ironically enough, I was scrolling a little bit through your comments as I woke up this morning trying to hunt down the leaks. But with that being the case, a lot of people were talking about, well, maybe Hollow Wicker Basket can work against something like Unlimited Void, but I don't think so. I think Unlimited Void is just a bit too complex and probably a bit too quick. Because once again, remember, especially considering how Gojo's barrier works in particular, once the barrier has enclosed you, you're hit. Unless you are standing there already in Simple Domain or Hollow Wicker Basket or whatever anti-domain technique you have, you immediately are hit and you are locked. You are literally stun locked, like permanently, because that's how the sure hit works. So it's it's technically not more lethal than Sukuna's. Sukuna's is definitely more lethal in the physical sense. Your body will get torn apart unless your name is Satoru Gojo, but it's still more lethal in the sense that it can end the fight like that. Which is why I still think, especially after the end of this chapter, it wasn't wise for Gojo to drag this fight out this long. It wasn't. It really was. And here's the thing: we don't know exactly what Gojo saw at the end of last chapter because he doesn't. Well, at least I can't tell if he mentions it in this chapter. But it looks like he may have played himself. Maybe, I don't know. I still have faith. Like, I'll get to why I have faith in a bit. Don't worry. I'm gonna cook just a little bit. But we see that essentially it's set up that Gojo has 3 minutes. He has 3 minutes to get Sukuna gone. Or at least if not gone, do enough damage within that 3 minutes that his super dense Omega barrier can last. And since Gojo has already done it, he should have a clearer path to it than before. And we see that, no lie, I'm like, once again, this is the former Sukuna slopper in me. I am banking on the fact that this cannot be Sukuna going all out. At least in terms of physicals. Like, this cannot be. Like, notably, Gojo starts dogging on Sukuna. And, like, not in the same way that I've been saying that, oh, Gojo's been dogging on Sukuna physically before. No, like, he hits Sukuna with multiple punches. Sukuna, he does block. Like Sukuna has a good close guard. Like, boom, puts it up. Sukuna, personally, I put an elbow up, so, it, like, punches in your elbow. But that's just me. That's me, like, taking an old fighting trick that I learned, like, years ago. So, like, he gets punched, like, multiple wombo combo, immediately gets, like, it's like Gojo's playing Kingdom Hearts 2, and Gojo's playing Kingdom Hearts 2, Sukuna is a Dusk, and he hit the reversal on him, so he ended up behind him. He pulls back with the hand. You see Sukuna, like, he tries to, like, almost recover in midair, and then, so instead of, like, engaging in fisticuffs, what ends up happening is that Gojo, like, weaves him around, uses, I'm assuming it's Blue or the telekinesis thing again. I'm not sure. I've never, like, I guess we've seen Blue kind of use, like, this before to, like, draw people in, but this is, like, weird direct telekinesis where he kind of, like, grabs Sukuna in midair, pulls him around, throws him right back into his own shrine, reels back with a fist, and reaches out with a hand, and, like, he's legit yanking Sukuna. Like, he is playing with Sukuna like, what's a video game analogy I can make here? I can't think of any game where you have, like, direct telekinetic control of your opponent. But, like, he's essentially wombo comboing Sukuna. Like, this, if there was, like, a fighters-esque Dragon Ball Jujutsu Kaisen game, I know there's a JJK fighting game coming out, but I don't know. I'm like, after Storm, I'm kind of sick and tired of arena fighters. Like, I just give me another fighter. Like, someone pay Arc Systems work, all right? Fighters has been out for, like, what, 5 years? It's been 5 years, okay? Like, give me a Naruto fighters, give me a Bleach fighters, give me a Jujutsu fighters. Like, just give me something fighters. Like, come on now. I'm sick and tired of these arena fighters, bro. Like, no offense to the Demon Slayer game, but, like, I just give me an actual good, proper fighting game, bro. I know not every game needs to be fighters. I'm not saying every game needs to be fighters, but, like, when every single anime gets an arena fighting game, like, bro, just give me something new. But regardless, sorry, I went on a tangent there. But essentially, this is low-key like a fighter's combo. Like, Sukuna's he got hit with the mix-up. He blocked the first, he blocked the first barrage. He ate the first block string, but unfortunately, that put him in block stun long enough that Gojo could leap around him, seemingly enough, hit him with a command grab, and just start wombo comboing him, throwing him around like a dog. And we do get to see that as Gojo is using the manipulation to, like, throw Sukuna here, throw Sukuna there, throw Sukuna up, throw Sukuna down, he does, like, it's weird, right? Because he throws Sukuna forwards into the shrine, then pulls him out of the shrine, then pulls him in his general direction, and then just, like takes his whole fist, that he took his whole meaty right, and just, boom, like, dropped it straight into Sukuna's chest. And notably, Sukuna is able to block. So once again, I'm really feeling like Sukuna is still holding back stats wise. Like I don't know what it is. Like, especially considering, I'm a Gojo Glazer, so I shouldn't be feeling that way. But, like, once again, no way 20 Finger Sukuna is, like, this weak. At least, like, I guess I can't say weak because Gojo's the strongest, right? So, like, obviously anything Gojo does is I don't know, the way that Gege be drawing Gojo, I think he's trying to, like, gaslight people into realizing that Gojo can be ugly, but it's not working, bro. Like, Gojo stock, especially after the first episode of Hidden Inventory dropped, They're through the roof, Gege. I'm sorry. It's too late, bro. It's way too late. But with that being the case, we see that Gojo is very specifically aiming for the same spot that he aimed before, where that hole, or at least the remains of what that hole was, he's aiming for there with his fist. And while Sukuna's smiling back at him, suddenly Gojo and Sukuna's barrier breaks. And once again, this is so strange. We don't see what caused enough damage. Like, what is it? Is it because notably, I can't tell what this can combo into in particular, right? Because he literally just lands a punch and Sukuna catches it. So, like, did he... And notably, the area of damage has changed, too. Because the barriers collapse, and now it's just Sukuna's face that's charred. But we've seen Sukuna eat something like this not just fine. Like, he also had his face charred off. But when he got hit in the face with red, that didn't shut down his domain the first time. So what was different about this one? Was this also a close call purple? Like, what did Gojo hit him with? That's what I'm realistically wondering. And if Gojo did hit him with a purple-esque attack for these last two times, is purple off the table now? Because I feel like it may be. Because think about it. Well, with what happens at the end of this chapter, there's a desperate, and I mean a desperate need to think about it. But with that being the case, Sukuna, once again, is the one who's taking extreme enough damage to collapse his domain. Though, once again, that feels a little bit strange, just because it's only his face. Like, I get the last chapter, because he literally had, like, a gaping hole in his chest. But, like, if it's only his face, Sukuna should be able to still go on. Like, you know how Gege went, like, if it's only pain, Itadori Yuji will keep moving forward. Yeah, like, it feels like if it's only his face, Sukuna Ryomen will keep moving forward. Like, it feels like it should be that. But no, he did take a massive chunk of damage, enough to collapse the domain. However, once again, Sukuna is still cheesing. He is, in fact, still cheesing and memeing. So, obviously, if there's anyone who has a contingency, it's Ryomen Sukuna. And we see that everyone's getting a little bit geeked once again. And they're like, oh, whew, okay. So Gojo's up. He up right now. And we do get to see that while Mei was like, well, chill out, bro. Don't make us feel nervous like that. And like, I don't even blame her. Because once again, like, Yuta's the main one who's been stressing it, mainly because that boy's been stressed. Does he appear in this chapter? Does Yuta actually show up in this chapter? Hold on. Let me scroll through the whole thing real quick. I don't think Yuta actually shows up in this chapter. I think Gege got tired of drawing him with a sweat mark. Oh, no. He did not Sorry. I can't get up. Yo, Yuta, that boy is so stressed. He's had this same sweat mark for the past 5 chapters, bro. Someone get this man some water, please. He's gonna be dehydrated. Why is bro like this? However, with that being the case, we see that Miwa and Yuji come down to a very specific realization. They're like, whoa. Hold on a second. Wait a second. If it comes to a battle inside the domain, Gojo sounds stronger. And to be fair, at least from their perspective, they're right. Because once again, this is the second time, only the second admittedly, that they've both neutralized in domains, yet Gojo has come out with no damage and Sukuna has come out with extreme damage. That's it. So in terms of like who's led their fights when their domains have neutralized, it is Gojo. But it's by such a narrow margin, I don't think it matters all too much, at least in my opinion. Like, it's still very, very close, especially considering what we see happen. And with that being the case, we see that Gojo wastes absolutely no time. He hits Sukuna, but Sukuna, once again, he raises up his guard. He's able to block that bad boy. And with that being the case, we see that in this instant, they're just getting quicker and quicker and quicker and quicker with restoring their curse techniques. Like, before, what ended up happening was it took them like a little bit of fisticuffs and running around before they could immediately go to domain again. But like, note, their domain pops like 2 seconds. They both get thrown back. Gojo lunges in and punches Sukuna, and they immediately go to domain. Like, that level of RCT healing is crazy. Notably, this is very impressive, because once again, we got to remember, this is more impressive on Sukuna's front than it is on Gojo's front. Like, no offense to Gojo. Love the man. But, like, for instance, let's take, we are not sponsored by this, by this water in particular. So I'm gonna take the label off, and this actually works out. So let's say that I don't know. For example, Gojo has, let's just lowball. Okay, maybe this one doesn't. Maybe this one wants me to. I mean, shoot, this water company wants to sponsor me. I do be drinking its water in like darn near every video. But like, with the case of domain versus domain, going domain bar for domain bar, the reason I find Sukuna more impressive here is specifically because of the circumstances we know Sukuna's operating under. Because he's not operating under conventional he is operating under conventional Okay, this thing is really stubborn. It does not want me to take it off. So essentially, Sukuna entered the battle like this. Full water bottle, topped off. And Gojo also entered the battle like this. Full water bottle, topped off. Gojo may have lost, let's say was spamming RCT and domain and all that, and using red, blue, and purple, all that. Gojo may have lost this much, like this much cursed energy relative to his full bottle of cursed energy. Yo, this is Sukuna's third domain. And while don't get me wrong, it is established that Sukuna has, or at least, once again, I'm just taking Yuda's statement at face value. I'm believing what Yuda says, all right? While it's been established that Yuda does have seemingly enough more than double the amount of Mr. Boundless cursed energy, Mr. Boundless sweater over here, Yuda, it still is very impressive that he's able to consistently pop domain on domain on domain. Like now it's popping domain on domain on domain. Before it was altering its properties. So I'm thinking impressive, but not too heavy on the cursed energy expenditure. But realize Sukuna already had to open up and heal his arm. Then he had to heal his face. Then he had to heal his face again. And we know RCT burns a bunch of cursed energy. And on top of that, he's now used 3 domains. So while Gojo essentially he could enter the battle at this much cursed energy and be down to like that much after like 5 domains. But Sukuna is running out here with a limited pool. Like, bro does not have unlimited cursed energy or the 6 eyes to compensate for unlimited cursed energy. So his efficiency, like, as much as I'm mad at Kashimo for just glazing, yeah, Kashimo's right. This is like a nigh on divine level of efficiency when it comes to the utilization of cursed energy. Because it doesn't seem like Sukuna's running low. And he's on his 3rd domain. And how much RCT? After regrowing whole limbs and healing his face multiple times and healing a chest wound, like, that is very, very impressive. And with that being the case, we do get to see that just for an instant, and that's all it took, just one instant, Gojo opened his domain just a little bit quicker. Just a little bit quick. And why? Why did Gojo open his domain just a little bit quicker? Because Sukuna needed to heal. So the big thing in yesterday's video, go peep if you haven't. So I think I am just wrong at the end of that video based on what I was talking about with Maharaga. But the one thing I mentioned was that Gojo could have won the fight at round start because he had charred off Sukuna's hand. And thusly Sukuna had no domain counter. Legitimately none. He couldn't use symbol domain. One, because I don't think Sukuna's ever actually seen symbol domain. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you guys can reference a chapter where, I mean, maybe you could argue he retroactively saw it through Todo. Like maybe, but then again, Yuji had already run forward. So it's not like Sukuna's actually seen the incantation for symbol domain, as far as I know. And even with Hollow Wicker Basket, those techniques require utilization of your hands. Sukuna doesn't have hands at the end of chapter 223. He doesn't. He simply does not have both hands. So he couldn't open his own domain encounter. He couldn't use Hollow Wicker Basket. And he couldn't use Simple Domain if he even knew Simple Domain. And thusly, all it would take is half a second, one hit of Infinite Void, and Sukuna would have been done. That was my big point. And we see that that ends up being true. Because realistically, look at the damage Sukuna took. His hands are both there. He's still intact. But just because he had to heal his face, just a little bit, just a quick little process that should have taken him 5 seconds, that 0.1 second of difference was enough that it locked down Sukuna, because he does get hit by Infinite Void. And we see, due to that, he's a little bit done. And even though you see, the interesting thing is you see Malevolent Shrine begin to open, but seemingly enough, since Malevolent Shrine, due to it being barrierless or whatever, it doesn't have the same like auto activation effect. It needs to be affected like, it's not instant like Sukuna's, or no, it's not instant like Gojo's sure hit is. Even with Malevolent Shrine being spawned in, you see Sukuna for the first time like, oh shoot, I'm tweaking, bro, and like he immediately starts to fade out. And Gojo, with those haunting big old blue eyes, looks Sukuna dead in the face like this. He's looking at him like this. And immediately you see that with Sukuna's delay, all Gojo does is bury his fist. And this is honestly, like, it's strangely enough one of my favorite panels of this fight. He just takes, I think it's his, I can't tell, is it his left? Does he take his left and just like straight up, but instead of like my hand stopping my fist, no, it goes straight in, and that level of damage, presumably like crushed his sternum. At a bare minimum, it crushed his sternum. That level of damage collapse Malevolent Shrine within 3 minutes inside Gojo's barrier, which is that's enough. That's enough. And since the shrine collapsed relatively early, before the 3 minutes of Gojo's domain was up, because Sukuna was slightly delayed and he was slightly being affected, the barrier's still up. The barrier's still there. And thusly, Sukuna is finally hit with Unlimited Void's effects. And we see that Sukuna, the King of Curses, the strongest sorcerer of 1,000 years past, is no different than any man. He, like many before him, whether they be named Jogo, or Choso, or Mahito, or the countless humans and transfigured humans that wandered the floors of Shibuya, he gets paralyzed like all others, as he is hit with Unlimited Void's effect. So yes, here's the thing. I'll do this with you. I'll do this with you. I will compromise. I was right. I'm just gonna say I was right. Unlimited Void was a sure hit, sure win condition. If a certain someone wasn't chilling in the shadows. So like, I was right, y'all. I was right. All right? I was right. Now don't make me possess you, because I was right. So with that being the case, I'll happily take my dub. That if Gojo had opened up with Unlimited Void instead of chatting with Sukuna, Sukuna would have been done. This chapter proves that. If a certain someone, a certain individual, hadn't been lurking in the shadows, then bada bing, bada boom, he gets Unlimited Voided out the room. So I'm going to take that. I'm going to take my dub and walk with it. So that's the end of the chapter. Series is over. You see, there's no rest of the chapter, you see, because Sukuna lost. So, yeah. Ladies and gents, thank you guys so much for watching. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the little notification wants to miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon below, weeks more as low as $1. Now, you get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You can also now become a member of the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That Guy with the Pencil. Right, okay. Sean knows he'll do that whole intro just like that, huh? That's what happens when you get used to it. I like the amount of times I've accidentally, like, certain things will lead me. Like, I've ended a conversation with my intro. Like, notably, I talked with a friend of mine about YouTube a whole bunch, and like, we were wrapping up a conversation. I was talking about how I'd end a video, and I immediately like on reflex did my outro as I was about to hang up the phone, and he looked me dead in the face. I was like, "What is wrong with you?" And I was like, "I'm sorry." it's habit. It's habit at this point. I mean, I record every day. It's something that I've gotten used to saying. Like, the amount of times I've genuinely introduced myself by saying, "What's up, guys?" That got the pencil here. Is staggering. But regardless, obviously that's not where the chapter ends. Okay, so Sukuna, he does get affected. And notably, I do think that the juice that pours from Sukuna's mouth is from the hit from Gojo. I don't think it's actually from Unlimited Void. So he is locked off. Sukuna is lost in the sauce. But Gojo says, not yet. At the very least, I'm going to crush his heart. Also his lungs and livers. Or, I'm assuming it's just liver, singular. I don't think do we have multiple? Does Sukuna have, is he on some Muzan type beat where he has like multiple of the same organ? But with that being the case, we see that Gojo's goal essentially is to bring him closer, he doesn't want to end Sukuna, because he wants to save Megami, obviously, but he wants to bring him just so unbelievably close to perishing that it's even worse than Yuji at the juvenile detention center. So if you remember, what Sukuna did to essentially ensure that he could get that binding vow for Yuji to get Megami's body later was he tore his heart out. Like, he tore his own heart out. And while Sukuna could function just fine, he could probably keep his blood pumping through utilization of RCT. The moment Yuji took back control, it was like, but, like, that was it. And Gojo knows, likely, that just crushing his heart wouldn't be enough. Like, you would need to incapacitate him in multiple ways in order to make sure that he's in some sort of stable condition for something to happen. Notably, we still aren't exactly sure what the plan is for Megami in this scenario, because realistically, if I'm Gojo and I'm determined to win, I'm not crushing his heart and lungs. I'm pulling back with the hollowest of purples, and I'm just erasing him. I'm sorry, I'm just going to sack the sun. Like, notably, I can only say that because I'm actually not Gojo. Like, since I'm not actually Satoru Gojo, shock horror, I don't have a blindfold. I was about to, like, pull out a blindfold and be like, wait, maybe, but one, hair's not long enough. And there are many other reasons why I'm not Satoru Gojo. But mainly it's the hair. But with that being the case, yeah, I would have just hit him with the purple. Because it's not worth the risk. But with that being the case, we see that it seems like I mentioned I was right about Unlimited Void being a sure hit, sure neg. But that I was wrong. I'll fully admit here, I was wrong. It appears that Sukuna somehow, I'm not sure, maybe it really was like a binding vow or like a contractual scenario where Mahoraga would be summoned if Sukuna were to ever be incapacitated. But that's what occurs here. Mahoraga, I'm not sure, I'll wait till the translation comes out, but the Divine General Mahoraga rises from the shadows and appears before the strongest sorcerer with a big old grin on his face. He's like, hey, boss, heard you called me up. Feeling a little bit fraudulent today, are you? Let's do it then. And then he showed up and was ready to while out. Mahoraga has some of the coldest panels in the entire manga. I don't know. I really, like, in terms of all the Cursed Spirit designs, even including Sukuna, I know it's gonna sound crazy, even including original Sukuna, I think Mahoraga is my favorite. There's something about the winged face, all the folds over his body, the musculature, the extra details with the Dharma wheel above it. Like, I don't know, I really, really, really like Mahoraga's design. Probably my favorite cursed creature design in the entire series. Maybe, I think I do like Four-Armed Sukuna though, especially like the Four-Armed Sukuna you see in the Yorozu flashback. I really like the way he looks there. But like, those two are essentially tied for me. But Mahoraga is summoned. Now, we do get to see. Do I talk about it now? Did I talk about the fraud stuff? Okay, let me see. How much chapter do I have left? 2. I have 2 pages of chapter left. So, Sukuna summons Mahoraga. If this is not cold, hard confirmation, I'll get into it in a little bit, but if this isn't cold, hard confirmation that Sukuna would have lost without the 10 shadows, I don't know what is. So I'm saying, Heian-era Sukuna versus Gojo. Gojo wins. That's it. I think that's it. That's all I'm going to say here. Notably, There are some extra variables. Someone brought up a very good point. Heian Sukuna was a lot buffer, and we know that your base stats do drastically impact your curse energy reinforcement stats post reinforcement. That's why Yuta is not as strong as he could be, because he's a little baby boy. Like, he doesn't actually have that many gains, and that's why Akari is likely physically stronger in Jackpot, because once you get infinite curse energy, yada yada yada. But with that being the case, even still, it seems like Unlimited Void is a genuine win con, and with that being the case, I gotta say, it's looking a little fraudulent for Sukuna. But before we get into the fraud stuff, let me finish the chapter off. We see that Gojo is caught off guard, but due to the fact that he knew that Mahoraga would be coming out eventually, he knows that he pretty much has to one-shot Mahoraga before it adapts Unlimited Void. Because if it adapts Unlimited Void, then who knows what else it could adapt to. And we see he looks like he's going to use Curse Technique Reversal, or at least according to the chapter translations. I don't know why he would try to hit it with a red. Why not hit it with purple? Like, point blank, why not hit it with purple, considering what you need to do to it? However, it seems like it's a bit too late, because Mahoraga reels back with the RCT blade, stabs the ground, and then Unlimited Void shatters. It has already adapted to Unlimited Void. And the chapter ends with a fearless smile that breaks the balance, talking about Mahoraga, and we are on break next week. And Mahoraga is indeed cheesing. Now, couple things about this. Number one, is Sukuna a fraud for using 10 shadows? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that Sukuna is not the strongest, or at least the original Sukuna wasn't. At least in my opinion, that's what this proves. Forearms withstanding. Maybe forearm buffer Sukuna would have had a better chance against Gojo with just Shrine and stuff like that. Maybe. Who knows? Essentially, yes, because Sukuna could not beat Gojo without the 10 shadows. But am I mad at Sukuna for using the 10 shadows? No. No. Not at all. I am a little bit disappointed that Mahoraga is still tiny. Like, oh, well, not tiny. It's kind of mean. He's not tiny. Like, he's not small. Mahoraga, I'm not disrespecting your gains, bro. Please don't adapt to me saying this and then appear in my room and be like, like, don't do that to me, Mahoraga, please. But I really was I don't know. Gay has low-key been disappointing me with how, like, at least I feel like Nue set the bar too high. Nue definitely set the bar too high. You mean to tell me 20 fingers worth of curse energy and this is the size Mahoraga is? I was hoping Mahoraga would be the size of a skyscraper, bro. Like, when this is the same size Mahoraga was when Megami summoned him. And like, what's the point then? Like, what's the point of it? Well, at least I think I would have been fine if Gege hadn't introduced the fact that the Shikigami would get bigger when reinforced by Sukuna's cursed energy. Sure, I can agree that this is likely stronger than the one Megami summoned back in Shibuya. Fine, but like, come on, at least give me a little visual. Like, at least if you're not gonna scale it up in size, right? Because it's already gigantic. Who's cutting their grass this early in the morning? But if you're not gonna, I'm sorry, that's just gonna be in the background for a little bit, or who knows, maybe the rest of the video. But with that being the case, oh, maybe not. But with that being the case, you could have at least like added a few more details to it. Like, I love Mahoraga's base design already, don't get me wrong, but like, give it a few more wings on its head. Maybe even if you aren't gonna do forearm Sukuna, give me forearm Mahoraga, or like do something with the design a bit more so that it feels upscaled, because this just is the same Mahoraga from before. I could excuse it in the Yorozu fight, because once again, that was a fight so Sukuna could get full unlimited access to 10 shadows properly. But the fact that this is still regular Mahoraga is kind of a little bit disappointing. But I don't think Sukuna's fraud for using the 10 shadows. I think he'd be dumb to not use the 10 shadows. So there we go. That's a short variation of a video I'm working on right now where I talk about whether or not Sukuna's a fraud for using 10 shadows. Because I do think we need to do like a deep dive analysis on Sukuna's character to explain why he wouldn't care less about pride or anything like that. But with that being the case, Mahoraga is out. But I don't think that automatically means that Gojo loses. In the short little time span that I've been conscious after waking up and trying to see if I can record for this video, a lot of people have been, oh, well, looks like Gojo's done. Oh, well, losing, blah, blah, blah. Guys, you've been saying this for the past, like, 5 chapters. Sorry, I'm just going to buy more Gojo stock. Like, as you guys keep making the stock fall, the stock just keeps going back up. So, like, at least at the start of the chapter, stock was going back up. I'm just going to keep buying, because I got faith in Gojo. Because we got to remember, Sukuna's not active right now. Like, notably, we don't know how long Sukuna was under the influence of Unlimited unlimited void. I'm about to say unlimited shrine. That'd be crazy. But we don't know how long he was under the influence of it. But note, it's only Mahoraga who adapts. Sukuna didn't adapt to it. And with that being the case, all Gojo needs to do is beat Mahoraga before Sukuna wakes up, and then bada bing, bada boom. Though admittedly, beating Mahoraga may come with problems of its own. Because if the rest of the Shikigami receive Maharaga's cursed energy, and hypothetically its ability, then they all get a lot more annoying, and they adapt to whatever Sukuna... Actually, no. That's the thing. Gojo, whatever he's going to one-shot Mahoraga with, it has to be something big. And now I assume, if I had to take a guess, we're going to see Gojo's maximum. This is where we have to pull it out. Because if it's already adapted to Unlimited Void, it's likely already adapted to Purple. It's likely already adapted to Red. It's likely already adapted to Blue. Because Gojo's been using all of those against Sukuna, and Sukuna's managed to face tank them all. While the Dharma Wheel was in there, in the shadows, cracking, and turning. So I do think everything is set up for Mahoraga to be non-invincible, except for Maximum. Or a reverse curse domain. Who knows? Maybe a reverse RCT domain could go crazy. But with that being the case, this is still a very W chapter. Obviously, I have reasons for it. Number one, seeing Gojo being my GOAT and just going wild on Sukuna is crazy. I do hope Sukuna has more in the bag himself. I hope he doesn't just have to sit back and let Mahoraga do all the work. I'm very excited to see Gojo versus Mahoraga. This is the first character since Sukuna that I think can actually give Mahoraga a good fight. And I'm interested to see how Mahoraga deals with things like the Limitless Neutral, aka the Infinity. I'm interested to see how much this adaptation has really lasted, or how strong it's grown for things like Red, for things like Blue, especially for something like Purple. If we get to see Mahoraga literally just eat a Purple, like straight up, he gets hit by it and like he throws it up like it's a Dragon Ball attack, or like it passes through him and he's still there flexing like a beast. Like I'm excited to see that. And overall, this is one of the most excited points I've seen or been for the Gojo versus Sukuna fight so far, because this is where it enters pure madness, especially if Sukuna wakes up in any short order, because then it's gonna go absolutely crazy. So overall, I'm super duper excited. I'm hype. However, that's what I think. Please let you guys think in the comment section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please do like, share, comment, and subscribe. Make sure the notifications so you miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I do have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. Now, thank you guys so much for watching once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is Zago the Pencil, writing off.